Hi there, this is Ronnie, coming at you with a video, slightly different video. I don't usually talk about TV shows per se unless they somehow link them to board games or RPGs. But as a fan of the Terry Pratchett books, specifically the City Watch, the Ankh-Morpork City Watch series within the Discworld books. When I first heard that they were doing a television series of the Watch, I was very excited. Start of the year, I saw some pictures and I was sort of muted about it, but I thought it's still pictures. You're not really seeing, we're not really getting a sense of the show from still pictures. I'll wait to see a trailer. I have now seen a trailer. And upon seeing that trailer, my view is I will not be watching this show. Now, I am not going to tell other people they cannot watch the show. That is entirely wrong. There will be people who, upon seeing the trailer, will think, yeah, that looks a lot of fun. There will be people who will find a certain the sort of irreverence of the humour and so on in the book, in the clips that we've seen so far, and may very well enjoy it, and it may be successful enough that it gets a second series. And if that's the way it happens, that's the way it happens. But it won't be with me watching. And there are a few reasons for this. Firstly, you know that your show is not in a good place when Terry Pratchett's daughter, who is the custodian of his work, when she has pretty much said that it shares no DNA at all with the original work. That's not a good sign. Then we have the casting. Now, as a rule, I don't usually have a problem with gender swapping. I really don't. But when it comes to gender swapping or swapping ethnicities and so on, I tend to reserve my sort of view where there isn't strong representation already in the source material. In this particular case, in the City Watch, they've changed some of the male characters into female characters. Now, my problem with it isn't that they've changed some of the characters. I've only really seen clips of Anna Chancellor playing Veterinary, and she certainly has the mannerisms and everything of the character. The problem I have with it is the City Watch books especially already have very strong female characters. And there are other books where there are female. I'm very bad because I really only read The Watch. I know that there is a female reporter in The Truth. There's, and I'm terrible for names, Moise von Lipwig's kind of friend stroke love interest in going postal and making money. But they're all really strong characters. In The Watch, you've got Sergeant Angua, you've got Cheery Littlebottom, get back to that in a second. You've got Sally the vampire, member of the Watch. You've got Lady Ramkin. Now, the problem I have is they're really strong characters. There's no need to gender swap other characters. More importantly, slightly more importantly, they've gender swapped Cheery. In fact, they've done an absolute mess with Cheery. Cheery Littlebottom in the books is a dwarf. A female dwarf. Now, for anyone who's never read the Discworld novels, all dwarves have beards. And dwarven society is entirely patriarchal. Everyone is assumed to be male. The male pronoun is used completely. And Cheery's having none of it. Cheery has seen these girls and she wants to be like them because she is. She's a female, she's a female dwarf. And she starts wearing lipstick. She starts wearing short, be it armoured metal skirts, but short skirts. As Carrot, you can see his knees. And Cheery is a wonderful example of pushing back against the patriarchy, which is great. It's a great character. Cheery in The Watch is played by a man without a beard, who is a human raised by dwarves. So he's full size. They have taken everything interesting about Cheery and taken it away. Why? I mean, you can see from the trailer they're pretty much going with guards, which is fine. It's the first novel that really deals with the Watch. It's fine. But all the characters, I mean, Sergeant Angua doesn't come into it until the next novel, Man at Arms. Cheery doesn't come into it until the novel after that, Feet of Clay. In terms of the sequence of the Watch, there's like other Discworld novels in between those. Sally really doesn't come in till it's either Night Watch or Thud. But in the meantime, there's been Monstrous Regiment, which has are almost completely female cast pretending to be men to enlist in the army. It's a wonderful sort of swipe. My second problem with regards to the characters, the main four in the Watch, the and I say main four in so much as no, in fact, we'll get back to that. Sybil Ramkin. She is a middle-aged, very strong woman. She's not seen as conventionally attractive, but she's a wonderful, strong woman, knows her own mind. Not putting up with any of this rubbish. And she and Sam Vimes fall in love partially out of a sort of practicality, but also because they recognise in each other a strength that each of them can respect and rely on. And they've changed her to be a lot younger, a lot more sort of physically appealing, which again undermines the character. She's a wonderful person without being alluring. She's just a lovely person. She's a great character and a lovely person. She doesn't have to be this bombshell which they've made her for the TV show. It's an utter travesty. But back to Guards. The first of the Watch novels, introduces Sam Vimes. Get back to him in a second. Sam Vimes, Sergeant Fred Colon, Corporal Nobby Nobbs, and the latest addition to the Watch, the person who comes into it, which is Carrot Iron Founderson, who is a human that was raised by dwarves. Which, yeah, it's fine to have him be a human, get back to him in a second, but why are they then doing it with Cheery? In the Watch TV show, Sergeant Colon and Corporal Nobbs, who are in every novel and in a lot of other Discworld novels aside, have not been cast. They are not in the show. Why? They're doing guards, and missing out 2 out of the 4 guards that are in the fucking book. Insanity. Utter insanity. Captain Carrot, which I know makes him sound like a superhero, but he becomes Corporal Carrot and Captain Carrot Iron Founderson very quickly. Subtly complex character. Starts as someone very naive, or looks very naive. He's very much a straight up good guy. Really tall, well built, but honest and honourable and kind and decent. Now, it was always going to be difficult to cast Carrot for the TV show. I get that. But it doesn't look like they've even tried. I mean, he looks utterly... The dwarf, who is the dwarf who should be a dwarf but is now a human raised by a dwarf, Cheery, looks taller than Carrot. Carrot is meant to be like 6'6" and built like, brick outhouse. Why? So all of that is going on. And then we get to Vimes. Sam Vimes is my favourite character of all the Discworld characters that I've in all the novels that I've read or seen adaptations of. I love Vimes. And it is a tricky character because there is a certain dry, cynical humour to him, but also a sort of steely determination about him as well, and a sense of honour in him as well. Now, I don't blame the actor, because the actor can only really use the tools that they've been given and work within those tools. I'm not necessarily blaming the actor, but I've seen a couple of clips now on YouTube, and that's not Vimes. It's not even close to Vimes. It's not even a poor facsimile of Vimes. He seems to be channeling his inner Jack Sparrow, which is so far removed from Vimes, it's unreal. talking smack to the patrician. He never does that. He might think it. He might leave the room after having dealt with the patrician and smack his head against the wall. But he's always very straight, answers straight, talks to the patrician. It's not Vimes. It seems to me that the creators of this show have assumed that Discworld is this wacky fantasy world, and everyone is trying to be wacky and fantasy in it. And yeah, the first few novels were sort of straight up, sort of tongue-in-cheek satire. But as the series of Discworld novels went on, they became a bit more... They weren't any less funny, but he was making serious points with the humour. And Vimes was one of his best weapons in that. And to see him sort of laid low like this is really rather sad for me. So no. Then you've got that sort of punk rock, steampunk aesthetic to it now. Discworld is this strange place where you have that sort of... Everyone sort of looks like... they sort of come from a sort of medieval Renaissance, that sort of high fantasy, Lord of the Rings was just last week kind of a feel. But over the course of the novels, and certainly if you see some of the adaptations, there is a certain amount of Victorian wear, Edwardian Victorian wear that come into the clothing and the ideologies and so on of Discworld. It has evolved. But this one has just went off there. Almost with some... I saw... They were playing modern guitars now. Granted, there was soul music where there was a guitar. But that was a one-off sort of magical instrument. It wasn't every day that you had electric guitars, for God's sake. I mean, it's maddeningly stupid. As I said at the start, some people may watch The Watch and may love it. It may be an astounding success. It may attract a big audience who want a particular kind of show, a kind of irreverent humour, and it may satisfy them. And if that's the case, fair enough. I cannot tell other people what they should and shouldn't be watching. I can certainly recommend things, or say, nah, it wasn't for me, or yeah, it's good, I like that. But you can't tell people not to watch something. I don't know how well it's going to do when it comes out next year. If the chatter on YouTube and so on is to be believed, certainly a lot of Pratchett fans are not impressed. I don't blame them. I'm not impressed. I won't be watching. I won't be dealing with the show at all. This video is literally my sort of final word on it. I'm not really going to be discussing it after this, because I just wanted to get it out there, so I've purged it out of myself, and it's gone. I have a lot of criticisms. I don't think it's the actor's fault, although you never know. But they can only work with what they're given, and given the recent success of Good Omens by the BBC, it's understandable that people might want to jump on board. But the creators of the show, I blame completely. They have taken a very good premise and a very good set of novels and really done them a disservice. It's simply not acceptable what's been done here as a fan of the books. So I won't be watching. I have no interest in it. I am still waiting for a proper TV show based on The Watch, or a set of films, which I think would be preferable. I really hoped that this would be it, but it's not. It's not even close. So thanks very much, guys. As I say, this is me getting this out of the way. Back to gaming soon. Thanks very much for watching.